Nikola Vucevic has been killing it over in Eurobasket. On today's episode, we're going to talk about why Nikola Vucevic is still needed for the Chicago Bulls, at least this season. We'll talk a little bit about that, plus his comments on the front office, and I believe that the Bulls can make a playoff run. We'll talk about all that and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. That's Pat, the designer, host, and creator of the Windy City Breeze, and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, also creator of Chicago Bulls Central and Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts. And today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control over your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA to get 50% off your first year. Pat, Nikola Vucevic, man, the topic that it's always been a little triggering of a topic for Bulls fans, depending on how you view Vooch. He's made some comments we're going to talk about. He's played over in Eurobasket. We're talking about it all, but we're going to continue what we've been doing, and that's going over under one stat for each Chicago Bulls player. And I feel like Vooch, 18 and 11, that's basically what you book him in for. That's what he's also doing over in Eurobasket right now. It's crazy. So I wanted to take it a different route than him to look at a stat. Games played. 73 games played for Nikola Vucevic. He played 82 games in 76, the 2 seasons prior to last year. Over or under 72 games played for Nikola Vucevic. And the reason why I asked this, Pat, is that we see players like, yes, there are players that typically stay healthy for the majority of their careers, but as you get older, maybe that durability does not maintain, and the Vooch does go down for an extended period of time. I don't know how well the Bulls can weather it for a long period of time. A shorter period of time, yeah, but let's start off with the over-under. Over-under 72 games played for Nikola Vucevic next year, Pat.
Give me the over.
Okay.
And the reason being is when you look at a player like Vooch, who does not stop playing. Vooch loves basketball. Those players tend to find a way to always stay on the court. The guys who don't ever stop, who go back and play Euro basketball, they tend to play through the injuries a little bit more often. I know we talk about Luka as being banged up in the playoffs, right? But remember, Luka went to an NBA Finals, and the list of injuries was so long, CVS was like, hey, our receipts don't have that much paper. So to me, a guy like Vooch does not fit into the model of the rest days, the not playing the back-to-backs, the, you know what I mean? Like it's just not his mindset. And so for me, I think that actually speaks to him playing more games than not. Now, what his role will be in those games will be interesting to see. But dog, it's weird because it hasn't been a problem. And I swear Bulls fans, like if we get to the next center, whoever that is, we already know what they're going to say. If this guy's not every single night the same elite level player, it's gonna be, man, I miss when we could just pencil Vooch in for his 18 and 11.
Yeah.
I miss how easy it was to just count on Vooch to go out there. I'll deal with the defense, but we do this every time somebody doesn't live up to the hype. So I've never been a Vooch hater like most people have been. And the people that usually are sitting there crying about his defense like he was a lockdown center in Orlando.
And the thing is, too, is I actually brought this up recently on Central, as I said, people hate Vooch on what he was never meant to be. And not that the front office didn't fail, because what they actually failed at is that they thought that Patrick Williams was going to turn into that defensive four that you need next to offensive center like Nikola Vucevic, and that just never materialized. Yeah. That's where they failed at. But Vooch has been everything that they actually traded him to be. Not what fans want to say, oh, he's not this defensively, things that he never was. What this team traded him to be offensively, one of the most consistent Bulls players offensively. There have been times where even when we didn't go to him in the situations that help him the most, that he still found ways to be productive. He's been everything that they traded him to be. Problem is that they misevaluated what was going to be next to him and how much that was going to overcome some of his shortcomings.
Yeah, 100%. Like the Vooch slander, to me, it doesn't make sense because, again, like you're asking for this center that never existed, that Vooch never was. And sure, do you want a defensive big? That's fine. You're like, yeah, we want a defensive big. I also want somebody that can be consistent. I don't want Clint Capella. You know what I mean? Not to say Clinton hasn't been consistent, but I don't want a dude his whole job is block shots, run up and down the floor. Not 1995 no more.
Yeah.
I
The only
want
way
to
that could work is that if Matas at the 4 turns into some like 20-8 guy, then you can get away with just a defensive guy that can run up and down the floor. But I mean, we don't even have that guy on the roster yet.
But even then, though, like there is some level where the versatility is more important. Like I would rather have what's a good example of a player who's like kind of a little bit of everything?
Miles Turner.
No, because Miles can score if he focus on it. Miles just like the 5th option on the team.
True.
Oh, we may see it this year. But Miles Turner has been a 20 plus point per game.
Has he ever scored over 20 points a game for us? I'm not saying that he hasn't.
I'd be wrong.
No, you could be right on that.
But you know, like Miles Turner to me is I can't think of a big right now, but like I give you, take it back. A Joakim Noah.
Oh, yeah.
When Joakim needed to score, he could. When he needed to play defense, he could. Like, I would take an everyman center any day of the week. And I think, there are times where we do get that from Vooch, and there are times where we don't. But, like, I don't want to live in this world where you just have one or the other as your future because, then you are trying to supplement that one player with 2. You got to have your defensive big and your offensive big. Well, now we know how to attack you. Now I'm gonna just shoot threes because your defensive big got to come out of the paint. Your offensive big, now you got to put him back in because he can play out the paint.
Well, I mean, I think that is determined by the rest of the team, but I get what you're getting. You want players that give effort on both sides of the ball, which is not, and I did go check the most points Miles Turner ever averaged in his career was 18 points per game. Shout out to Miles Turner. One season he did that in 2022-23.
Yeah, good Festus Ezeli. You know what I mean? That's what I'm looking for.
Name I have not heard in quite a while.
Hey, bro, if you played a new 2K, my career, I swear, for some reason, the photographer on that team on the like storyline looks like Festus Ezeli.
Well, they do use old face scans and they just alter them a little bit so they won't get sued for other
bro,
things.
It's hilarious.
You can tell in that. Like it was like the first year. If you go to the first year of my career. I can't remember if it was the agent or the recruiting guy, whichever one it was. You could tell that they used the old Corey Maggette face scan for that
bro.
dude. Just changed it a little bit. It's like, we scan these faces. We're going to use this mug.
Is Corey Maggette my agent right now? Is that Corey Maggette?
But yeah, I agree with what you said on especially the new center. Like you do, ideally, you want everybody in your team to do a little bit of everything. Like I get it, having specialists, you can get away with that. But then, like you said, how you have the rest of your starting 5 gets very particular at that point. Bench players are more so where you can get the extreme specialists, where you're like, you're for defense. You come in the game, you're for defense. But in your starters, you do want some versatility. And Vooch has always kind of been. He's been criticized a little bit too much on things that he never really was meant to do. One thing that I do when I ask you in regards, before we get out the segment though, Pat, is like, I don't know how much Eurobasket you've gotten to see. 4 games so far for Nikola Vucevic. Do you want to reckon a guess on what he's averaging for over a EuroLeague?
I think, what is it, 25 and 11 right now?
No, it's 18. Well, game 4. He's 18 and a half, 11 points, 3.8 assists. And 1 block per game. Do you want to reckon what his averages were last year for the Chicago Bulls?
Right on the money.
18 and a half, 10 rebounds, 3.5 assists, and 0.8 blocks. Vooch is the same guy no matter what situation you put him in.
Same dude. And I love it because truly, like, bro, like that is something, and I think people take it for granted, bro. Like, that's something that, like, you don't get to do with most players. Like, just say he got that. Let's worry about these other 4.
Yeah.
You don't get to do that with most players in the NBA. Yeah. Usually you're sitting there going, we hope that he can get that. And if he gives us that, we're going to be good. You go, Vooch got that. We got to figure out the other 100 points.
Exactly. Vooch got us for 18 points and 11 rebounds. We know that for 100% fact.
Now, he may give up 19 and 12. Although, actually, no, he's pretty good at boxing out. So he really don't give up a ton of rebounds.
And like I said, too, like a lot of people make things. I honestly think people think that this is like still the early 2000s and 90s. There's not a lot of great defensive centers in the league anymore. Like Vooch is still in like the top 12 as far as defensive efficiency for centers. Like it's
think about a dude like
there's a lot of bad defensive centers in the league right now.
Think about a dude like Derek Lively, who literally like just block shots and dunks. Yeah. And people are just like, look at what he can do. I'm like, he does the bare minimum for what centers were expected to do. a few years ago. And it's not to say I don't think that he's good or that I don't think he's going to. But he is 100% everything he's going to be for the rest of his career right now. He's probably going to be about a 10-point per game score. He's going to be about 70% efficiency, and he's going to block about 3 shots a game.
With that said, we're going to move into the next topic. We're going to talk about Vucevic's recent comments in regards to the front office and why one of the theories that I had on Vucevic is becoming more and more likely every day. But first, we got to get to the message from Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there is Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money. If you have shared and personal accounts as well, Monarch Money can help you link both those accounts, and you can set personal goals for both or individual goals as well. Don't let financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNBA. Or Locked On Bulls coming up next.
Categorization almost got you.
Huh?
Categorization almost
it
got
did.
you.
It did. It's
you
like
like stumbled your way into the end zone.
It popped into my head right there at the end. I always remember too when we do the Monarch Money reads how when we first got it and you were like 50% off your first year, so only 6 months. I was like, Pat, that's not what they're saying.
I half the year. I 50% of the year. That's what it was.
I was like, you're halving the wrong thing there, bro.
Don't worry about it. I made it.
Listen, it is what it is. But Vuce had some recent comments that really kind of invigorated the concerns with him in Bulls fan, in which he basically said that he feels that AK and Eversley have done a pretty good job. He did say that the initial team that they brought together was that they were confident in that. They maybe didn't react the best way after some things went left, namely Lonzo Ball's injury. But Vuce has always been very honest about this. I mean, if you remember correctly, Vuce was the first person to say, hey, this is probably the last year this version of the team is going to be together. And it was the last year that version of the team was together.
Yeah.
So like he's always been fairly honest about it. What do you think about Vuce's comments and his view on the front office? And then also, this to me also sounds and feels like, Pat, if Vuce does sign a contract extension, don't be surprised. But what do you think of that?
Listen, it feels like I think what we've said the entire time, that there was this iteration of the team that AK wanted to go all in on. And the problem is it didn't work because of the injury. And then you just held on to pieces too long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think Vuce is saying anything new. I think, we understood that the front office wanted to win right away. They wanted to put a competitive team together. They wanted to go all in. And it didn't work out. And the problem with the team, it seems, as now we're getting to the summer of 26 coming up here soon, that, they were like, well, we went all in. That didn't work. All right, we got to hold off for 4 years to get back to the point where we can go all in again.
Yep.
And I get it. That's how contracts work and how things are going to play out. And can you make trades and get value and and remain competitive. But that's not a good. That's up there with the Cubs telling the front office or telling the fans that the front office not only has to worry about the 2025 Cubs, but also the 2032 Cubs. I don't care about the 2032 Bulls. I maybe did in 2032. Like, you never know how life's going to go. So I'm not to say you shouldn't worry about the future, but there was a lot of ways for you to worry about the future while going down a better path right now. Now, there's still a lot that hinges on the success of young pieces on this team. If Matas Buzelis is good, we all have to sit there and be like, well, AK had made the right call. Just took time. If this team, signs Josh Giddey, which is still, bro, like it's getting weird.
I talked about it this weekend, bro. Like, legitimately, the The fact that we are now 26 days away, or 23 days away from training camp opening up, and we don't have any resolution on it. Like, we could talk about the October 1st deadline all day long, but that's just a deadline to sign a qualifying offer. If Josh Giddey don't care about signing a qualifying offer, this could go into the season, bro.
Bro, like, what if he holds out?
He could. Like, the Bulls,
it's getting weird.
The Bulls wanted to blink at it. It's like, oh, now you don't have your starting point guard. Now what are we going to do?
I don't know what this is becoming, bro. Like, this is taking leverage to a whole different world. Like, unless you're going to get him to sign for the next 5 years for 15 million, like, the deal got to be crazy now.
Yeah.
Like, for this to make sense, like, the deal on Giddey has to be insane value for the Bulls. It has to be like Josh Giddey has agreed to sign a 5-year, $17 million per deal. Like, that's the only way this makes sense to me. So, but outside of that, like, I think Vuce's comments are pretty spot on, and it's very wait and see right now to see who's going to develop, who's going to take that next step, who's going to be on the team, and we'll see kind of if that starts to move this thing in the right direction, or if you're in the exact same spot. There's a real world scenario where you can be a 40 to 41 win team this season, or a 39 to 41 win team this season, and be exactly in the same spot, and Matas Buzelis doesn't take a step, and you have the exact same team you had last season.
That's definitely a possibility. And I mean, that would be not something that hasn't happened to the Bulls before, is that, they're supposed to be taking a step, or we just end up staying the exact same. So, we'll see what happens.
I thought Ayo was going to be the next coming of Jesus. And then all of a sudden I was like, don't be scared of that. Don't be shocked by that sophomore slump. Everybody was like, Ayo sucks now. I was like, no, it's called a sophomore slump.
Yeah, it's a sophomore slump. Yeah, I mean,
and that is a realistic
possibility. It's a realistic possibility. He could very well have some struggles. And I mean, not to say that, I think this is what the thing is. Matas could have some struggles this year because they're asking him to do more than he did last year.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be a source of the struggles, right? Like, because you are asking him to do a little bit more playmaking. Maybe you're asking him to do a little bit more self-creation as far as creating his own shot. And that could lead to some struggles this year. And, if that does happen, I hope the world doesn't turn, because it's been such a summer of people like, he's the next superstar, this. And all it takes to be such a Bulls fan thing to do is that a little bit of struggle, and it's like, oh, Matas sucks. But let me flip this and ask this question for you, Pat. If Matas and Noah, let's say within the next season and a half, so about halfway through next season, Matas and Noah both look like guys that are at least guys that we can build around, or guys that we can build with, does the narrative on AK start changing there? If the Josh Giddey Kobe backcourt works and those type of things, you get those guys on reasonable deals. Your two most recent draft picks are looking good and looking like players that are actually going to contribute for, rather than we're still asking who they're going to be. Do you think then that the Bulls fans' perspective on AK changes, where it's like, okay, maybe we're not all in and we're blindly trusting AK again, but maybe we're at the point now where it's like, AK's done some good things. Let's see how he finishes it out.
Of course, our opinion on John Paxson changed 4 times. It was John Paxson could put together competitive teams. John Paxson doesn't put together teams that can actually go out there and compete for anything. John Paxson has put together a team that's the best in the Eastern Conference. Fire Garpax.
Yeah.
Like, of course, like your perception can change 100%. Remember we started this show, we thought AK was Batman.
We did. We thought he had a plan for everything. We shortly there. It's funny because we said that so much, and then literally the thing he had no plan for popped up shortly thereafter. That the thing he had no plan for, Lonzo. He had no plan to replace.
He went from having Batman file cabinets in our mind to that scene in SpongeBob where they threw out his name in his brain. We threw out his name, and they're just running around, things on fire. Like, it was. I mean, like, it's. The perceptions will change based on the success of the team, right? Right now, Pat Riley is the sleepy old man. The game has passed him by. Let him go to another finals. It's going to be this guy. He doesn't miss. He doesn't miss. He knew what to do. Like, we know how this goes.
Yeah.
So it 100% the perception of this team, the perception around this front office can change. It just matters on winning. And I'll be honest with you, like, we got to talk about the Ayo belief in a playoff run, but I thought it was very interesting, some of the things that Jeff Teague said about, like, why Chicago is a struggle.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, first of all, the fact that cowardice is a thing, but we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. Go ahead and get into your ad read. We'll get into it.
I ain't got no ad read today. It's Tuesday.
It is Tuesday. I thought it was Monday. You are absolutely right.
It is Tuesday.
Today.
So we go have this, but we do got to
it.
talk about the listener survey. We have an important request. Locked On wants to hear from you. We put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and make your favorite podcast even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't, and answer questions on or about our advertising. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. Everyone who completes a survey will be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, that's lockedonpodcast.com/survey. You can also find the link in the description below. Thank you all for helping us out.
All right. With that said, Ayo had his vlog, which he went back to Illinois. And towards the middle around, because I think it was an over hour long episode, if I'm not mistaken. It was around the midway part of that. He's just saying that the self-talk, you got to believe. I believe we're going to make the playoffs. You got to believe it's going to happen. Ayo, it was kind of the most fired up we've seen Ayo, who's usually a pretty just even kill guy, outside of leaving his mouth agape and looking blindly at veterans that are yelling. What do you think about Ayo and the belief that this Bulls team can make the playoffs this year?
I mean, listen, the East is dead. I would hope you can.
The East is not dead, bro.
The East is dead.
Bro, you got Cleveland. You got New York. You got the Magic, who are still going to. The Pistons are still going to be a really good team this year. You got some really good teams.
That's four.
Just because Boston and Indy are going to definitely take steps back. The East is not dead. Now, it's easier path than what you see. It's not
Are we saying to make the playoffs, or are we saying to go compete for a championship? If we say to make the playoffs, the Bulls should make the playoffs.
Okay, so let's talk about it. Let's see how many teams do we think are going to have better records than the Bulls? Cavs.
Yeah.
Knicks.
Yes.
Pistons.
Yes.
The Magic.
Yes.
The Atlanta Hawks with the changes that they've made.
No, I don't believe in Atlanta.
You don't believe that the Cleveland?
I've never believed in
you don't believe
I don't believe in Trae Young.
Bulls? That's okay, fair. And we've talked about Trae Young. The Milwaukee Bucks. 48 wins last year.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know.
You don't know? Okay.
I think Milwaukee, not to say that the Bulls will have, I guess to say more wins, yes, Milwaukee probably will have more wins than the Bulls. But I don't know what that team is this year.
No, and that's fair. I agree with you.
Miles Turner and Giannis, how does that fit?
Miami Heat.
No.
They didn't have one more. They only had 37 wins last year, too. It'd be remiss for me to ask you about the Indiana Pacers. Clearly they're. Do you think they're gonna have a better record than the Bulls?
Turns into
Ben Mathurin has to turn into Kobe, not Kobe White. Kobe Bryant.
Ben Mathurin, does he not feel like great value Anthony Edwards? Even though he came into the league before Ant-Man, does he not feel like great value Anthony Edwards? Like, not bad.
Why is this so accurate?
But just not.
Wait, did he come in before Anthony Edwards? I don't think so. Were they the same? I think they were the same draft.
Were they the same class? I thought he came in before Ant.
I could be mistaken on that one.
But every time I see Ben Mathurin, I'm like, I get Ant Edwards vibes
without the production,
without being Ant Edwards.
Yeah, that's fair. And then, okay, I guess teams too that are definitely made some changes. The Raptors, you don't feel comfortable about the Raptors. The Philadelphia 76ers.
I don't believe in Joel Embiid.
Okay, what about that roster? They've gone so far to make some improvements, even if Joel Embiid isn't healthy. How do you feel about the team? If let's say Joel Embiid plays 50 games this season, how many games do you think the Philadelphia 76ers can win?
41.
41. Okay.
I don't believe in Philly at all.
Fair. So
I do like, what's his name? Singing, I forget. What's the rookie they got? Yeah. I like his game. No, I still stand.
I mean, they drafted Edgecombe.
They drafted Edgecombe. But see, how do Edgecombe and Maxey coexist? Like, that's a small backcourt.
Well, I think they're gonna play. They're gonna play Edgecombe 7-3 because of his defensive versatility, I think. But that is still, and if they bring Grimes back, that's going to be a very interesting
that's a small 1, 2, and 3. If we do, I mean, what do you got? You got Tyrese is what, 6'1"?
6'2". Yeah, Tyrese is 6'2". McCain is 6'3". Edgecombe 6'5". That is very small.
That's you don't get abused defensively at times. But yeah, I'm not a believer in Philly at all.
Okay. All right,
And
cool.
it's not that, by the way, I'm not sitting here saying the Bulls are winning 50 games. I'm saying
I know what you're saying. You're more so
44
saying
games should get you into the playoffs.
So the way, and not to put words in your mouth, but the way that it seems like you view it is the top 4-ish teams in the East are separated, and then everybody else other than that is all kind of bunched in there.
It's 44 wins should get you a 5 or 6 seed.
Okay, all right, it's fair. I mean, I guess we shall see, man. We'll see if the Bulls do make the playoffs this year. I mean, good. I'm glad that they would be progressing at that point, and that by playoffs we're talking about not the play-in. What happened? All right, that's the end of the show. We want to thank you guys for tuning in. I'm done after that one. There's no coming back for me after that one. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls, man. Y'all
talk about the Jeff T thing tomorrow.
Y'all can follow Pat and Pat, the designer. Locked On Bulls is free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube, the Odyssey app, Amazon Fire TV, Roku TV, Fubo TV. For those on the podcast side, Shay just said Joel Embiid.
No, you come to the YouTube side. Just come to the YouTube side. Just come to the YouTube side.
We'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow, man. Peace, y'all.
Sweet Jesus.
Oh, man, that's crazy.
That was diabolical.
That is